Boom! Stupid. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Morning Bible. That's how we're opening. We are kicking off today. Luke chapter 15. Brand new chapter. It's an exciting one. We've got some absolutely massive passages in here. And they continue on into chapter 16. So let's just go straight into it. From verse 1. This is the parable of the lost sheep. Now the tax collectors and sinners were all drawing near to Jesus, and the Pharisees and scribes grumbled, saying, "This man receives sinners and eats with them." So, tax collectors, we've talked about them, not for a little while though. They were hated in society. They were seen as very corrupt, because a lot of the time they were very corrupt. They would take, basically the way the hierarchy worked. My infographic Bible is at uni, otherwise I would get this little diagram out. But there was sort of several rulers at top, who sort of went down from like a kind of national level to like a local level, and then those local rulers just had like head tax collectors, and then under those head tax collectors there was just like a selection of tax collectors. Then under them were soldiers, and so the tax collectors would kind of tell the soldiers what to do and get their money, and then they would take a cut of it for themselves, and then they would give that money, and then they would take a cut, and then so it was this thing of people being way overtaxed, and there was a lot of corruption going on, and it was all bad. So no one likes tax collectors. And sinners, just in general, people who were doing bad things, immoral things. They're all gathering near to Jesus. They're all hanging out with Jesus. And so the religious leaders, the Pharisees, who were also quite corrupt, but the religious leaders were going, "What on earth is this? Why are these people hanging out with Jesus? And why is Jesus okay with this?" They say, "This man receives sinners and eats with them." Like, he doesn't just like hang out with them, he eats with them. That's a very big thing in this culture, to sit down and eat with someone. And so they were very not happy about that. So Jesus told them this parable. This is Jesus' answer to this, because this is a concern, not a concern, but like a criticism that we see even today, people throwing out. It's like, "Oh, why are you hanging out with this person? Why are you trying to help this person? Why are you reaching out to this person?" There are certain groups in society where it's socially acceptable to help these people, to reach out to these people, and then there are other groups where it still isn't, where we still have this issue where you see someone helping these people and you think, "What are you doing? Why would you do that?" Like prisoners, for example. That's something that's always been on my heart. So I feel like the social perception of trying to help those who are in jail is it's quite challenging. A lot of people are very happy to just throw them away, and that's the kind of same attitude these Pharisees were saying. They were like, "Whoa, these people are bad. What are you doing with them? Hang out with the good people." And this is Jesus' response, and it's something that we can all learn from. He says, so Jesus told them this parable. "What man of you, having 100 sheep, if he has lost one of them, does not leave the 99 in the open country and go after the one that is lost until he finds it? And when he has found it, he lays it on his shoulders, rejoicing. For when he comes home, he calls together his friends and his neighbours, saying to them, 'Rejoice with me, for I have found my sheep that was lost.' Just so, I tell you, there will be more joy in heaven over one sinner who repents than over 99 righteous people who do not need repentance." So this is a very simple little parable. It's very clear what Jesus means. He talks about having 100 sheep. So you have a field, you're a shepherd, well done. You've got a job in the middle of coronavirus. You have a field full of sheep, and you count them all up one day. Try not to fall asleep, don't say that was a terrible joke. And you realise that one of them's missing. There's a sheep that's gone. And so of course what you do is you just leave those 99 sheep together. You know that they're safe, and so you leave them where they're safe. And you go out into the wilderness and look for that sheep. That's what Jesus is saying. If you're a good shepherd, if you care about your sheep, then that's how you should behave. You should go out and look for that missing sheep. There'll be one that's lost, and that's the one that you should be helping. There's no point sort of helping the sheep who are all there, because they're already there. They're looking after themselves, they're eating, they're doing all the rest of it. You go and rescue that one sheep. And so, when you find that sheep, you're very happy, because you've gone out into the wilderness, you've gone out somewhere dangerous, and you've found this sheep. It may be a little bit scratched up, maybe it may be a little bit lost or upset, but you found the sheep, and so you put it on your shoulders, you take it onto your back. You rescue the sheep. You don't sort of walk back and go and hope the sheep will follow you. You pick the sheep up and you carry it and you walk with it and you rejoice. It says he lays it on his shoulders, rejoicing. You're happy about it. You're celebrating because you found your sheep that was missing. Because you're a good shepherd and you care about your sheep. And so Jesus is saying this is exactly what he's come to earth to do. This is exactly what he's come down to do. Is he hasn't come down for all of the good people. There are loads of people who have got relationships with God, who are in a stable place in their life, who are sort of pushing deeper into God. There's always space to push deeper into your relationship with God. Jesus is saying those people aren't the priority. The people who are the priority are the people who are so far away from God. They're the tax collectors, they're the sinners, they're the prostitutes, they're the prisoners, they're the criminals, they're the sick or the disabled. They're the people who, in this society, would have been shunned, would have been separate from God, would have been looked down on. Those are the people who Jesus has come to. Elsewhere in the New Testament, I can't remember where, Jesus says, where a doctor doesn't come to heal people who are healthy, he comes to heal the sick. And it's the same idea. It's that you don't come to help the people who are already doing okay, you come to help the people who are struggling most. You go for that one sheep. And that's the guarantee that Jesus gives us that God will always do, is whenever we find ourselves in a situation in life where we're that one sheep, it happens to everyone eventually, we'll be that one sheep where we've drifted away and we're lost in the wilderness and we're scared. We will have a shepherd who will come and who will put him on his shoulders and rejoice. He won't just sort of find us and go, oh hey, follow me, and then walk off and expect us to make our own way back. He will pick us up and he will carry us back. It's quite a passive thing for the sheep to be rescued, which is nice. You see your shepherd and you know that you'll be picked up and you can have peace in that. And so in the middle of Corona, I know that a lot of us probably feel like we're that lost sheep at the moment. We're quite scared, we're in the wilderness, we don't know where we're going. You can rest easy knowing that God has you on his back. You don't have to do the work here, God's doing the work. God is rescuing you. And that's a promise that we have forever. And the rejoicing is so good. That's always the thing that gets me. Is so tempting to sort of, not tempting, that's the wrong word, but you can imagine like, oh, if there's a sheep that's gone and you kind of get it back, you'd be like, oh, what a long day's work, that was really hard, blah blah blah, that's a lot of effort. But Jesus is saying, no, you rejoice because you're so happy about the sheep. To use another parable, I've just got a bike that I'm trying to restore, an old bike, and there are a set of like cranks on it, a set of pedals that I cannot get off, but I need to get off because they're broken. And I've tried everything and I'm working so hard to get these cranks off. It was one of those things where I was sitting there yesterday, I was like, how will I feel when I get these cranks off? It's like, will I be annoyed? Will I still be angry? I was like, no, I'll be so happy, I'll be rejoicing. And that's the same thing. Is Jesus saying, look, he will go out into the wilderness, he will do the hard work, he will find you, he will pull those cranks off, and once they're off, once the sheep's on his back, there'll be rejoicing, there'll be gladness, because he knows the job is done and that the sheep is coming home to safety, the bike is going to be running again soon. Yeah, it's a really good little passage. Sorry, I know I probably didn't explain that super clearly, I feel like my brain was but the parable is clear enough anyway. All I'm really doing with these videos is trying to paraphrase the Bible and make it more understandable, but this is an understandable enough passage anyway. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. So kicks off Luke chapter 15. We will be going into the next part of it tomorrow. Much love, stay safe, do all the rest of it. Bye bye bye.